How does ScarWork help restore mobility and release tight scars? I'm Irvin Eisenberg from Resilience Occupational Therapy. I also have a podcast, Resilience Radio, and I want to talk a little bit about the scar work that I do in my practice. So some scars can get extra tight. You can have scars that sort of are almost lacking to the tissue, where it's almost like a void. You can have hard scars that are hard, and then you can have scars that actually are tight, and they seem to pull the tissue from around them. Now, this can restrict movement and can just make things feel stuck overall. In another video, we talked about scars going deeper and sort of resulting in holding muscular tissue in place and how we release that. In this video, I'm talking a little bit more about the actual holding in and it feels like almost actively pulling together. Now, scars can have an elasticity to them. And we actually have a type of fibroblasts. So fibroblasts are the cells that make scar tissue, and they make fascia and connective tissue, and certain types of connective tissue in general. But there's a particular type of fibroblast called the myofibroblast. And the myofibroblast has myo is from the word muscle, actually has some muscle type fibers in it that contract. Now, it doesn't contract based on the nervous system. We don't actually fully understand the mechanism that makes them contract, but the cell comes out, it creates fibers around it for the matrix of our connective tissue, and then it actually grabs onto those fibers and contracts and pulls them together. You've seen this in scars that seem to pucker the skin and pull things together. And over time they can release and sometimes they don't. The work we're doing is trying to relax that tissue, soften it, let the nervous system know, or whatever mechanism that is. We don't fully understand the mechanisms of myofibroblasts, but it seems that working the tissue can help. That pulling in can help release that and create less tension and restrictions to all the surrounding tissue. This can improve mobility, fluidity of a muscle, strength of that muscle. If we're talking about that restriction happening around an organ, that can help with some of the adhesions that might end up in the process holding some of your digestive tract in place and making motility more difficult for your digestion. So the work I'm doing is looking at how do we gently release the tissue. Now remember, this is very important that we have this ability to contract and hold things in place. This is the scaffolding. This is what keeps us from bleeding out or being so injured that we can't function. This is really important response and mechanism that our body is able to produce, and it is important to respect that at this point you might have a scar that's no longer serving your purposes, but to me, in order to sort of fully integrate that scar back in, getting things to soften, I feel like an appreciation for what that scar has done for you and what our bodies are able to do to keep us safe and resilient. But we don't need to do it anymore. We can release that tissue and let it melt back and let those cells serve other functions in our body moving forward.